New look. Who dis? I dis. I am this. I am. I don't know why. I just decided to use this camera. I would have had to make, you know what? It's because I was lazy. I would have had to turn that one on and focus it. And I'm like, yeah, let's just give people a weird perspective where my hand is unnaturally large. But I have to do the editor's desk, which means I need to open the editor's desk recording thingy. And I don't always do the editor's desk on the office hours stream. If you want it all the time, you got to be a patron. But every once in a while, it's fun to do this. Hey, Killbot. What's happening? Selvin, buenos dias. Hello, Adam. I almost said Adam 13. Adam 12. All right. There's the editor's desk recording. Where are the emails? Where are the emails? There they are. How's it going, Steve? Good to see you. I do feel more like I'm talking to you than I do when I use that camera there. Because it's like, oh, hello. It's like you're sitting next to me. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Did you see this? Happy Thursday, Binary Spiral. Wow, there's lots of editors' desks. I think this will fit in your bonus show topics. Oh, yeah, why did I put that in editor's desk? All right. Okay, that's good. Okay, that may or may not be editor's desk. Okay, that's a good one. Oh, yeah. Okay. Those two go together. Okay. I thought I answered. Oh, no, I didn't do editor's desk last week. Because I did the okay, so that, okay, got it. All right, these are all the editor's desks. Are you ready? It is time for the editor's desk. And boy, lots of emails. You know, I skip a week to do the survey results, and this is what happens. I get all these emails. So it might be a super size editor's desk today. We are going to go with the oldest one first. Matt wrote in and said, "Hi, Tom. Since sardines came up, I thought I'd mention that after you talked about it as your lunch, I tried it out a while later, and it's now one of my primary staples. Been working from home since 2020 and needed something new in the mix. I've also gone with skinless and boneless sardines in water. I don't go with boneless and skinless, just as a note. I've gone with skinless, boneless sardines in water, a mix of brown and wild rice, adding in a couple of handfuls of lightly cooked mixed veggies, and then some small subset of the following for flavor, mixing it up daily for variety: sesame oil, kimchi, togarashi, fish sauce, oyster sauce, Old Bay, Cajun seasoning, sriracha, harissa, tahini, capers, pickled peppers, gochujang, gochujang, garlic powder, onion powder, smoked shoyu, lemon pepper, anchovy paste, and a few others I can't bring to mind." Just to be clear, he doesn't put all of those in every time. He's saying he'll choose a few of those, and mix up the flavors. Since the topic came up, I thought you'd be amused that there was another listener out there who made anchovies and rice one of their lunch staples after you mentioned it. And not anchovies, I think he meant sardines. But yeah, no, I love that. And what a great list of seasonings and flavorings, Matt. Thank you for sending that along. That's awesome. All right. Nick says, can you give any insight into Acast ads? Another one for the editor's desk. Because I listen to Daily Tech Headlines on the free Acast feed, I get the ads. I know in the past you've said that you can choose what categories of ads are run against your content, but I was wondering if you can shed light on how Acast decides which ads I hear. Back in the pandemic, I remember getting a lot of ads for a jeweler talking about their diamonds. Not exactly something I'm interested in, but given it was for a business in Brisbane, Australia, which is my state's capital city, I could understand why I might get it, given Acast probably can't tell by IP address that I'm at least a 6-hour drive away from Brisbane. But then there's all sorts of ads for stock markets, business management products, and other things I'd expect they should target at investors and upper management type folks, not an average guy that's happy working a low-level but well-paid customer-facing job. Are these assigned to what I'm listening to on Acast because they link DTH for these types of people? Or have I somehow managed to convince an algorithm that I'm a CEO of a big company that likes to play the stock market? Nick, they probably just don't know that much about you. It's funny, in this world where everyone complains about companies knowing too much about them, it is evident when they don't know that much about you. And it's kind of annoying to be like, yeah, these ads don't apply to me. I wish you knew more about me. But then we don't want them to know things about us. Acast does have some tracking pixels and things, especially if you embed their stuff on the web. It's probably one of the least liked things that I have about the Daily Tech News Show website is it comes up with a lot of trackers, and they're all from the Acast embed. I don't do any of the tracking myself. But if you're just going to the RSS feed, all they know is your IP address and the client that you are using to download. So they'll know you're on Pocket Cast or Downcast or Apple or whatever, and they'll know where your IP address is. Now, that might not be where you are, but it depends on what kind of VPN or something you might be using. But, it sounds like they know you're in an IP address that is in Australia, so they're going to be more likely to give you an Australian ad, even if it's not particularly close. Because the Australian company is saying blanket this area with this ad. They're not wanting to target it specifically. They might know if a show's audience is made up of a certain demographic, and that's done by doing surveys. So they will push surveys to people sometimes and say, oh, what do you listen to? How much money do you make? What's your profession? And so they may be able to say, oh, well, the average Daily Tech Headline listener is a jewelry-loving Brisbaner who is into business. And then they would put more of those kinds of ads there. But they don't know whether you fall into that. They just know that many people in the audience fall into that. So that's kind of a general way of giving you the idea. They're doing their best job, right? Somebody comes and says, I want to buy ads that reach these types of people, and they'll get as close as they can, but it's far from an exact science. Thank you for the question, Nick, as always. Dan says, on a recent episode, you guys mentioned the Frog Pants Network end of show voice promo that Justin recorded in 2014. That's actually the Diamond Club promo, but no big deal. And that it was based on Audible. We hope you have enjoyed this program. Audible hopes you have enjoyed this recording, this book, whatever. And after every book. Long story short, Dan says, I used to listen to the New York Times, or you could choose the Wall Street Journal, Audible morning briefing, which lasted about an hour. It had that day's New York Times main stories and a variety of other helpful and cool stories. This helped start my day for more than 15 years, and in January 2021 or 2022, Audible and New York Times discontinued this add-on and, like Amazon usually does, said, we don't care, too bad. I think that's unfair when people say that. I'm not trying to stick up for Amazon, but a lot of times these companies just decide that they're not getting much out of this and they decide to stop doing it. Anyway, Dan says, I have been trying to find something similar for years. I'm willing to pay for it, but I have not been able to find anything that is an hour and basically this day's news. Mark Moran was a part of my life for an hour, Monday through Friday, for nearly 2 decades, and it just stopped. I am so pissed out about it, to be honest, even though I still have my Audible subscription. It was not tech news. It was mainly just the general New York Times of various sections. I know they have their other podcasts, but they aren't as broad and non-biased and only last 15 minutes. I have asked them so many times for alternatives and been given none. Any chance you can suggest something, or maybe ask the GDI DTNS crowd? Well, Dan, yeah, I'll ask the editor's desk crowd for sure, and I'll try to remember to shovel this one over to regular DTNS. But Anybody know of an hour-long daily news show that's somewhat objective? And not tech news, obviously, but broad news. I don't. My favorite go-to daily show for news is The Economist. It is 20 minutes. It is not an hour. So if you need it to be longer, that's not going to foot the bill. What I would say for The Economist podcast is you get more than one a day. So on any given day, you'll get The Intelligence, which is the 20-minute, here are 3 big stories of the day. And then you'll also get Money Talks. And then on a different day, you'll get I'm blanking on the other ones. There's Money Talks is the business one. Babbage is the science and technology one. But there's different ones every day, and those are usually 20 minutes. So now we're getting closer. Now we're getting 40 minutes of news. They aren't U.S. centric. They're very global in their outlook, though they do have a lot of U.S. news because the U.S. is, turns out a big player on the world stage. That's my go-to for that. Your mileage may vary on that, but I find it to keep me very, very well up to date. I know BBC also has something that is an hour, and I haven't listened to it, so I can't say anything more about it. But anyway, yes, send us ideas for Dan if he's looking for a replacement for that sort of, 1 hour summary of the news of the day. Because as much as I love The Economist, I don't think it's exactly what you're looking for, because it's not a summary of all the news of the day like the New York Times was. It's more of like, here are 3 big stories we think are interesting to understand the news of the day. And it's very much of the day. And then the Money Talks and Babbage and those are a little more wide ranging, but I find them very, very useful. So anyway, there you go, Dan. Hope that helps some. All right. This is suspicious. And I actually know both of these listeners have been listeners for a long time, so I'm not suspecting them of anything. But let me just read these back to back. George sent a note that said, "Hi, Tom. I've been hearing about Podcasting 2.0, which was put forth by the Podfather, Adam Curry. From what I understand, it brings additional features to RSS feeds, like live streams, integrated transcripts, and chapters. I do find some of the features neat, like chapters, which some podcasts are using, and Podcasting 2.0 promotes a value-for-value model, using the Bitcoin Lightning Network to facilitate direct payments to creators. Do you think Podcasting 2.0 is an improvement to current podcasting models? Is it something you would use for any podcast you may start in the future? As a Hall of Fame podcaster, in my opinion, I would love to hear your thoughts. Cheers, George." And then within the same day, David wrote, "Hi, Tom. I don't know if this is a topic for Editor's Desk or know a little more, but I recently heard about something called Podcasting 2.0. What's that all about? And is it something that DTNS is involved in? Kind regards, David." So I am not suspecting David and George of colluding to spam me, but obviously they both heard it discussed somewhere. I'm going to guess the same place, and both thought, that sounds like something Tom would be interested in or could explain to me. So David and George, I am aware of Podcasting 2.0. I have not spent time digging into it, and I probably should. But it's just not high on my priority list right now. I am 100% in support of all of the things it stands for. It's just something that I need to fix a bunch of other stuff first, basically, before I get around to that. And I'm getting slower in my old age, but I will get to it. I will look into it. Thanks for reminding me about it. Chris says, "Tom, it's getting close to the time of year that you've done Experiment Week on DTNS in the past, and that got me wondering. I know Subbrilliant isn't associated with all the previous experiments, but can you update us on the ones that spun out? Which ones are still going, and is there going to be an Experiment Week this week or this year? P.S. In looking up how many B's are in Subbrilliant, I stumbled on subbrilliant.com. I've never heard of Subbrilliant News, Subbrilliant Foundation, and Subbrilliant University. What are all these?" Let me answer the easier one first. Experiment Week is coming up. Roger's been really busy getting people lined up for it. It will start on August 19th, run through the 23rd. If you're unfamiliar, Experiment Week is a week in the summer, usually when the news is a little thinner, and we open up the feed for people to try stuff out. So for Monday through Friday of that week, we'll be, instead of delivering Daily Tech News Show, you'll get Daily Tech headlines, and then you'll get another show, which is somebody in our community of contributors trying out an idea. So past successes that are still going are AI Named the Show, Tristan and Tasia, Barbecue and Tech, Chris and Rod, The Tech John, which is Rob and Rob Dunwood and Stephanie and Terrence. I suspect I'm forgetting some. Android Faithful was never an Experiment Week show, and I don't know if any of the others stuck around. But those three definitely have kept going and are part of our family of shows. The
DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Anyway, yeah. So I feel like I'm forgetting one. I'm going to feel awful if I forgot one. I should probably look, huh? Okay. This is what happens when you don't prepare better. You end up having to log in to your ACAST thing and prove you're not a robot by identifying traffic lights. Really? I have to identify traffic lights. All right, there. Oh, I'm not a robot, just so you know. I am not a robot, although it can't load the page for me. Holy new angles, Batman. I can't get this thing to load. Isn't that crazy? Okay, well, maybe I won't be able to answer this. Really? You're going to make me log in again in the middle of Editor's Desk while all these people are sitting here saying, I came here to just hear Tom's perspective, not hear him wander off trying to log in and answer a question for somebody when he should have looked it up ahead of time. That page isn't redirecting properly. Well, why don't you just try it again? Maybe it'll redirect properly this time. Hey, I think it is. Okay, so AI Named the Show. Apple Vision Show was not Experiment Week. The Tech John, Barbecue and Tech. Oh, Noticias de Tecnología Express, NTX, from Dan Campos. Yeah. All right. There we go. Okay. As for Subbrilliant, the very first website I ever started was not originally at subbrilliant.com, but was called Subbrilliant News. It was based on a zine that I had started in the early 90s when I was working at the University of Illinois Library and continued to publish when I moved to Austin, Texas and distribute at Europa Books on Guadalupe Street. Subbrilliant News was parody news. I was very upset after I started the zine to find that The Onion existed. The Onion had been around for like a year or two at the time. And so I took Subbrilliant News to Usenet originally and was publishing it there. And then in 1996, when I got my graphical web, 5 megabytes of space included in my ISP subscription, I started Subbrilliant News at concentric.net/AceDetect. And that's where Ace Detect came from. I was trying to use Ace Detective as my username, and it had a character count limit, and I spelled it wrong. So that's where Subbrilliant News came. Eventually it became subbrilliant.com. And Subbrilliant News is the main thing at subbrilliant.com. I worked on it a lot in the 90s and even in the early 2000s. It has sort of sputtered out, but it is the oldest website I have. And if you poke around, you can find the archives and a look at the original, graphic website that I had up. Subbrilliant Foundation was something I made up because I was creating fake academic articles. Subbrilliant University was the same thing. So yeah, none of those are real. It's just all parody stuff. And Subbrilliant, the company that owns Daily Tech News Show, is spelled with 1 B. Because it's not different than the parody thing. So there you go. Misspellings have played a large part in the history of this company. All right. Finally, Nick says, "Hi, Tom. If you want to use this on Editor's Desk to spark a greater conversation, feel free. I just had a thought on the people hating AI coverage." So I mentioned this when I was going through the survey results last week. You mentioned that you should probably define exactly what you're talking about with various AI stories. Is it machine learning? Is it a large language model, etc.? I remember Linus Tech Tips having this discussion early on in the AI hype cycle. Their solution was exactly that. Use the terms machine learning, large language model, and so on instead of AI. Also being very specific about the limitations of the product. Personally, I think it really helped in their coverage. Also, with the recent Computex, the various YouTuber channels that follow the PC gaming tech all made videos on how the PC hardware manufacturers were slapping the AI label on everything. For instance, multiple companies had AI cases. When asked what makes this product AI, the representatives of the companies had to come up with answers like, you can put an AI computer in it, or bog standard DDR5 with AI slapped on the product. This type of blatant bandwagoning from the companies really upsets people and wears down people's feeling towards AI. So what did YouTube media outlets like Gamers Nexus, Hardware Unboxed, Kick Guru, and others do? They called out the companies and made sure their viewers understood the issue and not to get fooled just because someone in the marketing department of a PC hardware company thought it would be a good idea to slap AI on the product. This approach is educational to the viewer, letting them know not to just fall for the term AI. Anyway, those are my thoughts on that. Nick in Australia. Nick, this email made me sad because we also, and I talked about it on Editor's Desk, made the decision years ago, like 5 or 6 years ago, to refer to AI as its thing. Machine learning originally was the thing that I would talk about the most. And then large language models came along, and we used large language models or generative models. Sometimes I was using algorithm. But yes, I support Linus Tech Tips in doing the exact same thing, but we have been doing that for a long time. Since AI coverage first started to become something we were doing frequently. We don't always avoid using the word AI because sometimes companies use it in the name, right? Or I think it's legitimate to use it when you're talking about all of it. Like, you're not talking specifically about a deep learning thing. You're talking about all the people doing these kinds of things. And you may say the AI industry or the AI efforts. And so I know you probably know this and we're assuming it. But I read this and I was like, well, yeah, we did that too. It didn't seem to help. It seems that people are still mad about our AI coverage, even though we do that. And then with the Computex stuff, I think that's great. I support those companies doing that, or those coverage, areas doing that. I have two thoughts about it. One is we don't do product coverage like that. So we don't have the opportunity to look at a case that's called AI. I rarely have us covering something that is using AI wrong. But when we do, we call it out. It just doesn't happen as much because we're not covering these same kinds of things. Also, I don't want to slam something for views. And I'm not accusing these outlets of doing it because I haven't watched what you're talking about. But I am, in our own coverage, very wary of, this is a stupid thing, let's cover it so we can tell you how stupid it is, unless I feel like it's something that a lot of people are being fooled by. And they're not. Most people are not being fooled by a lot of this stuff. So I'm not going to cover something just so I can bring it to your attention. That's promoting it. Unless I notice in the audience, like, wow, a lot of people are falling for this, let me cover it. So when you see us like, oh, you're seeing this on the local news, let me explain why it's not true. That's why I do it that way. Like, I know you're going to see this a lot, so let me explain it. Whereas some of the stuff, you're not seeing it a lot. And if I were to tell you about it, suddenly it's the Streisand effect, and now you know about it. So I think it's appropriate for Gamers Nexus and Hardware Unboxed to do it because their audience is running into this because they're covering this kind of stuff. And it is, we are going through all the things available at Computex sort of situation, which we're not usually in. Anyway, Nick, as always, thank you very much for the thoughts. These are all good stuff. And I appreciate you sending them along. Well, that is going to do it for the Editor's Desk today. It is actually not that much longer than a regular Editor's Desk. We got through a lot of this very, very quickly. Thanks for all the questions, and keep them coming. Send them to me at feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Thank you for supporting Patreon, patreon.com/DTNS, and I will talk to you next time. All right, now I'm going to go back and look at all the chats that I missed. Yes, a different angle on the news. A new slant. Acast gives me ads for Chicago, but I use a VPN and live in Kentucky. Is the VPN endpoint in Chicago then? Or is just Kentucky in the large enough area that they're like, well, it's close enough. You know, could be that. I'm seeing YouTube Premium ads reads in YouTube videos. YouTube Premium ad reads. So it's like somebody doing a YouTube video and they're reading a sponsor and their sponsor is YouTube Premium. Interesting. Thank you. Coffee shop. The Daily from New York Times is 30 minutes. I got the impression he knew about the Daily and he didn't like it. But thank you, Binary Spiral. A podcast can do chapters. Why have crypto involved? For direct payments. So that you can have automated payments happen. You may not feel comfortable using crypto, but it's actually a good use of the technology if you just want to, put it in the system and have it happen. NTX was not an experiment. You are correct. He did an experimental English language news, and then NTX later. Yeah, that is true. CPODs. At this angle, we can see if you cleaned your left ear today. Did I? Zoe? The endpoint must be, and the VPN would be in Chicago. That would make sense then. Yeah. Interesting saying. So it's sort of like I'd be doing this YouTube video, right? And I'd say, hey, really thanks to YouTube for sponsoring today's video. YouTube Premium means you don't see ads, even though you'll see this one, because YouTube Premium doesn't get rid of the ad I read baked into my show. Thanks. Seems a little weird. Thank you, Zoe. I'm glad it looks clean. I don't know if I did a good job or not cleaning my... Yeah, that's weird saying. I'm with you. That's unusual. All right. Weird. Funny. Funny? Is it funny? That's not funny. Okay. You know what I'm going to try? Because I like trying things sometimes. I need to publish the editor's desk right now. So, editor's desk. We love to publish the editor's desk. Where did Sabrilliant come from? Editor's desk. But can ChatGPT do this? Can you write a Patreon post description of a short MP3? Editor's desk. This is the new theme of the editor's desk. You're insured. Okay. This is maybe the dumbest text message I've ever gotten. CVS Pharmacy. Sawyer, your insurance allows you to fill your prescription as a time-saving 3-month supply. Switch back anytime. First of all, Sawyer the dog not with us anymore. Second of all, Sawyer the dog did not have insurance of any kind, not even pet insurance. Yeah. Oh, I can't listen to MP3s. Well, forget it, ChatGPT. You're of no help here. How Acast places ads public feed. What was Chris's question besides the Subbrilliant one? It was when experiment week is happening and who successfully launched out of it, and what Subbrilliant and Subbrilliant mean. Is there a difference? Yes. La différence. All right, that works. Claude might be able to. Claude. I like to say Claude. Tears. So many tears. No more tears. Okay, there we go. How much editing of the editor's desk was needed to find the best editing flow? I don't edit it. I record it live to tape. Yeah, CPOTS 50. I would be curious to know what insurance it thinks Sawyer had. This is my coffee mug. It's now empty. All righty. Never reply to a text message. That's one of my principles for living a happy life. I just put the new computer on top of the old computer. Don't edit anything. Now I get what you're asking, Gilda. Yes, I am sure the podcast 2.0 emails were not from Dvorak and Curry because I know the two people who sent them, and I emailed with them before. I suppose they could have always been the Dvorak and Curry pretending to be those people, but I sort of doubt it. It would be kind of impressive if it was. All right, I've done the editor's desk. I have done my Korean practice. I have not done anything else. I have to shoot a top 5 at 2 o'clock too. And I have to work on Know a Little More. OMG. Orchestral maneuvers in the GARC. Sev today is great. Would you like to see some recent Sev pictures? Oh, yes, if Eileen sends me a text, Jermaine, I do respond to Eileen's texts. I guess I should modify. I don't respond to texts from companies or people that I don't know. I do respond to texts from people I like and know. All right. Let's see. All photos. All the photos. All right. Let's have a Seven the Dog Fest. What do you say? If anyone does not want to see puppy photos, please avert your eyes. There's Seven playing with his friend Posey, his new bestie. They're still playing. And other dogs. That was on Instagram. Seven and Posey hanging out in the shade, playing, having a good time, loving life. Hugs. That was just this morning. The sky looked pretty. There he is. He's big. It just took a bunch of pictures to kind of document how big he's gotten. What was he? Oh, he was trying to get both of these at the same time. He's like, I want to have them both. I can't choose. Must have both. Both, please. Oh, man. Why are you filming this? I can get them both, I swear. Don't know, Sang. His mom was 40 pounds. So he'll at least get 40 pounds, we guess, unless his dad was smaller than his mom. Action shot. This is him, for the first time that I've seen, noticing his own reflection. He's like, "What? I swear I see another dog. Is there another? Did you see this? I think there's another dog over there. We should go investigate." So there you go. We have a DNA test in for Embark Vet that will tell us at least, approximately what breeds he's mixed with. So we'll have a little better idea after that. We don't even know the breed of the mom, and she's a mix herself. So yeah, it's a mystery. But he's been out there meeting dogs, having a good time, being a bestie. He loves people. That's what I'm starting to realize now that we're able to, get him out of the house and go on walks. He sees people. He's like, I want to meet you. He's very, very friendly, very social, which is good. All right. So there you go. There's the Seven the Dog update. Hope that was enjoyable for all of you. We lost one person. One person left during the Seven the Dog update. Some people just don't like dogs. I get it. I don't like wolves when they're trying to eat me. So it's fair. And now we've gained 2 people since we stopped talking about Seven the Dog. Usually pets increase streams, though. That's what I've noticed. Anything else? Any other? Was that 7? Was that 7 pictures of 7? Anything else that you would like to see? We could go spy on 7. Let me see if this will work. Oh, I have to take a B-reel? Okay, hold on. Everyone say, hi, Tom's B-reel in the chat, and then that'll be my B-reel. All right, here we go. They were team cats. I have not been to Gyeongju, but that was in my language learning thing. All right. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. There's such a lag. You're probably all done by now. Okay, there we go. Sorry if you didn't make it into the B-reel. There's too much lag on the internet. Thank you for responding. Oh, right. I was going to try to add an extra camera. Oh, Wi-Fi isn't on. I can't do it. And I don't want to turn it on. Oh, well. Well, everyone, thank you for everything. Is there any last request that I can fulfill before I end this stream? Why is Roger talking to me? the top 5 stuff. I can drink plenty of coffee. I can have a good day. I can try to keep being awesome. Ooh. Nikki's got a great idea for something to cover on DTNS. Okay. Not really, Thomas. No. I don't follow that, so I don't really know the details or anything. I hope it's all good. All right. I am out of here. Thank you, everyone, for being along. You all rock. You're the best. Good to see you, Joel Freak. Thanks for the sub. And stick around for Daily Tech News Show in just about an hour and a half. Bye. Here, I'll go out on a...